Good morning, and welcome to James with Jesus on this Monday, March 28th. A little bit chilly this morning, I think 44 degrees. The scripture I selected today comes from the 3rd chapter of Colossians, and if you've been a loyal follower of James with Jesus, you'll know this is probably the 3rd or 4th time I've pulled this one out, because it just speaks deeply to me about being a Christian community. As God's chosen ones, holy and beloved, clothe yourselves with compassion, kindness, humility, meekness, and patience. Bear with one another, and if anyone has a complaint against another, forgive each other. Just as the Lord has forgiven you, so you also must forgive. Above all, clothe yourselves with love, which binds everything together in perfect harmony. And let the peace of Christ rule in your hearts, to which indeed you were called in the one body. And be thankful. Let the word of Christ dwell in you richly. Teach and admonish one another in all wisdom, and with gratitude in your hearts, sing psalms, hymns, and spiritual songs to God. And whatever you do, in word or deed, do everything in the name of the Lord Jesus, giving thanks to God the Father through him. So why this was particularly on my mind this morning was I Googled Bible verses on being patient with one another, because we're in a transition period once again with the pandemic, in that right now locally numbers are, at least hospitalizations are way down. Infections are down. Wastewater numbers ticked up a little bit maybe a week or so ago, but then all the students left town. But all the students will be back from all those different places they've been visiting, and hopefully had great, safe spring breaks, but nevertheless probably in areas of the country that might be more exposed to the BA2 variant. We'll just see. So yesterday it was joyful in worship, and for those that are not at University Lutheran, I apologize, but I'll just share our experience. Maybe you can reflect on yours. More people that I hadn't seen physically in worship for the whole pandemic. So that's, again, an indicator that folks felt more comfortable coming out. People mentioned good-naturedly that it was nice to see me without a mask, which in normal times I'd say, well, that's very complimentary. But I also want to let folks know that I'm going to be the little bit of the canary in the coal mine, that I shared with people. I said, I'm enjoying the respite, because that's what I believe this to be, a respite. And I hope it lasts for another month or more, but I'm not going to be trying to strategically time when incidences have gone back up and when to re-mask out of what I consider to be, just concern for others, or simply being thoughtful towards others. I wore my mask when I was sitting close to the kids during the children's message, because they can't get away from me if they'd like to. And I wore my mask when I was distributing communion, because once again, people are at the rail. They have no choice when I get that close to them. So I will continue those two practices, and then keep it off the rest of the worship as much as I'm able, and much as scenarios dictate. We talked about bringing back coffee hour to some degree, and so that'll be probably rolled out in the next week or two. Obviously, with the weather that as nice as it is, I would encourage people to enjoy their coffee outdoors in the fresh air, because that is very helpful. But being back to this patience with one another, just recognizing different people are in different places as far as their comfort levels, how they interact, what their own personal physical health may be, what their interactions are with others. So again, it was all very good-natured yesterday, and I can live with that forever. So I appreciate that. I appreciate the fact that people were willing. I took a little bit of a different tack on a sermon yesterday, trying to get 25 pages worth of a book into a somewhat of a sermon that could be followed. But I appreciate people scratching their heads a little bit and going deeper in a different direction than maybe what we've heard a lot about, that the parable of the lost son, or parable of the prodigal son, or parable of the loving father. Today, another beautiful spring day with lots of stuff in bloom: azaleas, forsythia, daffodils, the redbud trees, dogwoods, So that's, again, give thanks to God for everything. So let us pray. Holy God, thank you for this new day. We give you thanks for, at least in our area, a respite from the 2 years plus of living with the pandemic. Help us still be mindful, help us still be attentive, and most of all, throughout this, help us to react in love towards our neighbor. Help us do what we are able. This day, help us to remember to be thankful, and help us to put to use those gifts, talents, and energies that you've entrusted to us, not only for building up the body of Christ, but for work in your world. And these things we ask and pray in Jesus' name. Amen. Well, I hope you have a blessed day. One of my little joys yesterday is I bought a bunch of native plants maybe 2 weeks ago, and they're starting to bloom. They're very small things, but hey, 5 years from now, I hope they turn into a patch. So God's peace be with you. Bye-bye.